Hello everyone, welcome to another MUSCM Live. Welcome to Manchester United, Donny van de Beek. Yes, today's episode is going to be all about Donny van de Beek, how he fits into the United system, why the number 34, how can he play with Bruno, Pogba, the rest, Matic, and every single thing about Donny van de Beek. And if we have time, we will look at some of the other transfers that are happening around it as well. Who else should join him? Who else is much needed to this squad? But welcome everyone to another MUSCM Live. We're very excited to have you with us. Abhishek is tuned in, as I can see. Hopefully at some point he can send a request and join in as well. But I want all of you to send in your requests as well, because I want you guys to come in as always and discuss with us what you think should be the case. We want your views, your opinions, and let's get this going. First of all, guys, Donny van de Beek. I think it's an amazing signing. One under the radar. We were looking constantly at the likes of Sancho, but I think at every single point, it was like, if we get someone like a Van de Beek, it'd be so helpful. So we did get that signing done. No fusses about it. Great signing. But, let me just sort of dive into the messages. And once again, hello to everyone joining us once again. Great Friday evening. Great way to start the weekend. So if you guys want, get a drink. Let's make this fun. Raj Zolaki says Thiago, Sancho and a CB needed. I'm going to come soon to who else is needed. Let's start with looking at Van de Beek himself, how he comes into the system, where he'll play, and then that can sort of lend to who else is then needed. I agree with those names. Whether they happen or not, let's see. Agent De Gea says Skater Boy. Well, I think it's been Agent Oli on this, hasn't it? There's been so much talk of Oli being very influential in convincing Donny to come here. There were obviously a lot of suitors in there, but just Oli spoke to him, sold him on the vision of the club, and he, as in his own words, there's no bigger level of standard than Manchester United. So hey, that's a great start, isn't it? Well, let's see what everyone else is saying. Nirav says, why do we need Thiago now? Well, Nirav, exactly why I'm saying we're going to get into, once we get a few more people in, once we have a few more requests coming in, we're going to talk and break down how he fits in and whether, how that then see who else is needed, whether it's a Thiago, whether it's anyone else, how that central midfield will now look for this season. Where does he play? Let's sort of try and break this down today together and see how Donny van de Beek fits into this system. Glad we did. Gregory Anand says, glad we're not by Grealish. Van de Beek looks more disciplined. I completely agree. I'm so glad that Van de Beek is a signing and not Grealish. Not just about the playing style or any of that, but also just because of the price tags and everything around it as well. I think he's a much better buy. Not that hyped just because he's not English and stuff like that. So, just comes with that much more settled feeling around him. Is at least what I think. Ankit Baz Black App says Reguilon bid tonight. Hey, that'd be a great addition to left back, honestly. But yeah, thanks everyone once again for joining in. I'm really excited. Let's break down what's happening today. Nirav says, since Pogba tested positive for COVID-19, Van de Beek might start against Palace. Well, I think by the time Pogba will test negative or come back to training, that might be the same time as Van de Beek comes back to training, because he's currently with Netherlands. So by the time he's back from that camp and he joins us in training. But yeah, let's see. It's at least now we have an option there, to sort of get those rotations going. Ayush Parekh says, we got lucky. Most suitors, including Real Madrid, pulled out. Van de Beek was actually on his way to Real Madrid earlier on in the season, and then whatever reasons the move broke down. Some say it's financial, some say it's not as big a name as Real need. They need that marquee signing, so to say. But hey, their loss is our game. I am extremely excited and extremely happy that he is here at United, and I'm really looking forward to this. But you know what? Let's get straight into it. Let me see if I have any requests coming in. But guys, send in your requests. Let me bring one of you on. Let's break this down. Let's see where you think he's going to play. And then we can take all the other questions from there. Well, I have Prateek Chauhan who's sent a request. I'm going to get Prateek on. if still there, I've just sent you a request to join in. And we're going to talking about where you think Van der Beek fits into the system. Hey, brother, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing just a bit late here. That's it. How are you going?
Where are you tuning in from?
Melbourne.
Melbourne. Hey, that's good, man. Good to see the big smiles on the faces. I think the signing does that, right? Like this time last week, all of us were a little, oh, what is happening?
Yeah,
But
I mean
the smiles are
everything.
back.
I'm pretty happy we got Van de Beek though, because as we were talking, we had a chat last time. I couldn't join in because network issues. But yeah, we were talking about squad depth, and I'm pretty happy that we are, you know, focusing on that area. And yeah, pretty much we solved defensive issues last season. I think Ole is going full clutch this season in the attacking and midfield area.
Yeah. So where do you think he's going to play, right? So there's even when he first came in, I had to sort of dig into some, analytics on like multiple websites, tweets, all these
Yeah,
threads going around, and it seems that he's more of, while maybe the position we needed most was a Matic replacement, he does seem more as a Pogba or a Bruno replacement, right?
yes.
What do you think? Where do you think he's going to play? How is he going to fit into the system?
I think he's not for the Matic position. We have
Yeah.
got Scott for that. Matic and Scott, they are perfectly, they fit in for defensive. Scott is more aggressive, but I would suggest that he will be suited for Matic. But to cover up Paul, because the quality he has, I think Van de Beek will play his position. Yeah.
Yeah, Van de Beek, for whoever's sort of not seen yet, Van de Beek is the kind of player who loves making those forward drives. He's very attacking minded. Every single player saying that. Every single coach, every single pundit is very attacking minded. What had happened last season though, after Frankie de Jong left, Van de Beek sort of moved into a deeper role. But he's still a very much an attacking, very attack minded. That deeper role doesn't mean he can sit suddenly behind and break play down. While he can do that in bits and pieces, he's still more, probably how Pogba plays deeper for France, right?
Yes, yes, he
That's
does.
probably more of how it is. He sort of does that can break play here and there, but it's not his main thing, right? So do you see him then being quality rotation or first team? How do you see him coming in?
I think probably rotation because Paul Pogba will be the priority. But as Bruno came and changed the later half of the season, Pogba was out. What if, maybe if similar situation happens, if Pogba is injured, we don't have to cover up and everything just falls on Bruno. So I'm glad that we have Van der Beek now.
Yeah, man, I completely agree that, he brings that rotation and I think he'll sort of also push Pogba, right? Because still now the likes of Scott McTominay, Fred, while they've put in their shifts, they've never been able to push Paul Pogba, let's be honest. Or even
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes for that matter, right? It shouldn't be that, yes, he's had a great few run of game, but no one's position at Manchester United Football Club should be taken for granted, right? So it's great that he can push them, especially with this season, with all these fixtures coming in thick and fast. We're going to be playing. We saw towards the end of post resumption, whatever you want to call that phase,
Yeah.
where fatigue was coming in thick and fast, and everyone, oh my God, we're tired. There's no substitutes to bring in.
Exactly. Yeah.
This guy can come in. I'm just going to take, this one very interesting comment from Sham coming in. Sham says that, Van de Beek is a starter for him, and it'll be tough to see where he comes in, Sham. So if you can drop your thoughts on where you think he comes in, or
Yeah.
maybe you know what, I'll bring you on next. Send me a request, I'll bring you on next, and we can sort of discuss that. Uh, I my thing with him is one of the things that I really love is that all the comments that are coming around him is that he sort of settles to the other players' positions. So while he does have the flair about him, when he did play with the likes of say Ziyech, he realized, let me let this player flourish. I will do my job and I'll complement this guy's game. So he doesn't let his game go. He still makes those runs. But then you know what? He's like, okay, let me leave the flicks and the tricks to this guy. Well, and let me complement that game. That can become so pivotal to someone like Pogba, Bruno,
Yeah.
maybe when Sancho comes in, if Sancho comes in, Rashford, Martial, with all these players around him, you need someone who can let them flourish, right?
Yeah, because there are games where I've seen Pogba not performing as what we expect him to, and
Yeah.
that's where Van de Beek fits in. That's where we need him, and
Yeah.
this has happened quite a lot of times in previous seasons.
Yeah, man, definitely. Hey, man, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really excited to see Van de Beek play. I hope, you know what, as we said, if he keeps pushing Pogba and Bruno for those positions and he gets the starting lineup, as Sham is saying, I'll be really happy because that means he's playing at a really high level, right? But hey, man, thanks for tuning in once again. And
I
we'll
think
see you again
I
soon.
think yes,
Yep,
I think that he will start in some games.
of
In
course.
some games he will start,
Yeah.
yeah, but probably rotation is I think that's the most probable thing for him.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you so much for
All right.
bringing me, man.
Perfect.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, man. Cheers. Pleasure as always.
Good night.
Well, there we have it. We think he's going to be, at least from that conversation, a bench player primarily, but he'll push Pogba and Bruno, come into the rotations, start a couple of games here and there as well, bring some much needed energy into that midfield when the other players start tiring or there's two games coming thick and fast. Um, but yeah, I think that's what chat is saying as well. Let me just go through some comments. Joshua says, squad depth, bench strength. Yep, I think, Gregory says healthy competition between these three midfielders. And that's brilliant, right? Because we've seen with all our squads that, the squads that have been the best ones has always been built on competition between some of the best players in front, right? Or in all positions. And that competition sort of pushes everyone, and we will need that depth and so to, go about. And the other thing for me that is very important with the Van de Beek signing, I don't think he's just someone to replace Pogba and Bruno, but when we face teams that just play with that low block, where we probably don't need the Matic to break play, I think we can play with all three of them. Just keep spraying those balls forward, keep breaking the lines. He's very good at doing that as well. He's a quick thinker. He likes passing the ball quick as much as he likes receiving it in the box. So you know what? When the teams are coming in and facing that low block, which he found so hard to break down last season, put in Van de Beek, put in Pogba, put in Bruno, and then let's see how much they can just sit behind. They need to come out and stop these midfielders from making those passes and breaking the lines and getting the balls to our forwards. So I think it's an amazing signing. Well, I'm going to get Sham on because Sham said he sees Van de Beek starting. So that's a really interesting take on this. And so let's see why he thinks that. Um, aye,
Hi, sir. What's up?
Mr. Valor. How's it going, sir? Are the smiles back?
Good. Yes, the smile's back. We finally have our first signing for the summer. Hopefully, a few more to go.
I was just going to say, hopefully just first and not first and only, because otherwise the signing will become very bleak. But
Yeah.
I'm going to jump straight into it, man. You're saying Van de Beek to start. Where do you think he's starting? Just take us through it, man.
See, initially, before De Jong left Ajax, this guy loved to make those forward runs in the box. But after he left the club, he switched his role to a little more defensive. So in a way, he has that versatility wherein he can replace a Matic, or he can be a Herrera-esque player who runs into the box or probably disrupts the game when needed. So according to me, a Matic will come into play because Matic won't be able to last 60 games a season.
Of course.
And he'll probably, Scott or Fred might be an understudy for Matic in terms of how he grooms them for his role. And in the meantime, I see Van de Beek as a starter, considering he's almost on par or a little ahead in terms of getting penalties like Bruno Fernandes. So the guy loves to make those forward runs and be in those attacking positions. And looking at Ole's point of view in terms of changing the whole dynamic of play, the way United play, the wing attack, and make it a little more fluid and attacking, I think this guy is a definite starter for me.
Yeah, so for me, I'm torn here, right? So I will first, I saw the same things. I was reading about the same ones where, he's sort of gone deeper this season, which I mentioned earlier on as well, which sort of bodes well for us that he can play there. Having said that, it's sort of, to be fair to the league, it's been in the Dutch league, right? So breaking play over there, it's a league where Ajax are used to dominating games, primarily dominating the ball. So he gets there, right? So where I'm coming from is there might be some games, there's no traditional top six now anyway, right? We have the top 8, top 9. So I think in those games, you will need the Matic or the Fred or the Scott there to just keep doing the defensive duties. And I think maybe Van de Beek takes a bit longer to get used to that, Premier League level of breaking down play, just like being the one who just breaks it completely. That's my only apprehension when I'm starting games.
I don't know, but again, if you look at in terms of what role do you want him to play in a particular game? Do you want him to break down the play, or do you want him to attack and move ahead and make the likes of Pogba and Bruno Fernandes more involved in the game from where they already are? So in terms of if you compare, he's from a Dutch league. Similarly, Bruno was from a Portuguese league. I mean, in terms of creating and breaking the play, he's done his well,
Yeah.
considering coming in attack against a Premier League team. So I don't think that standard of can Messi do it in a cold, windy night against Stoke is now the level
Yeah.
everyone really wants to talk to about Premier League.
Yeah.
Of course, the referees are not that in favor of attacking player when they are tackled or fouled compared to other leagues. That's the only difference. It's a little more physical here, but
Yeah.
I don't think that really should matter in terms of will he be able to break play or will he be able to put in those passes through the line.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see. I mean, obviously, we'll find out. For me, I mean, I'm still thinking he's going to be pushing Pogba and Bruno. But if we can figure out a system where all three of them start, it's going to be such a positive mindset getting into a game. Imagine the
Exactly.
three forwards starting a game thinking, dude, we're going to get the balls today. Like there's going to be no excuses. They're going to be like, okay, this is going to be fun. Annie and bringing up some points here on chat. Sham is basically saying that this could also be a move, just preemptive move, seeing that Pogba might be leaving next season. Or this can also just be telling his manager that, or his agent rather, that, dude, you know what? You're not the only one anymore. We have players who are coming in who can push, who still want to play for Manchester United. Do you think it's something along those lines?
No, I don't think so. I think Ole has had a good impact, positive impact on Pogba and the like, especially in the later half of the last season, where we started playing a little more fluid football. The attacking game was in play. So now the players are happy. It's not Jose game, like spark the button, sit behind and let's see what happens. So now an attacking player wants to attack. The manager has given the freedom to do whatever you want to do. So if a Bruno says that I lose the ball quite often because I'm trying to make that one pass which goes through the defense, and then, so the manager has given the freedom for you to do that, right? So I don't think it's a preemptive attempt to just have a backup if Pogba leaves. And considering from all the rumors which we have seen that he's ready to sign a new contract.
Apparently, it's taking forever.
I don't
Seems
really
like
think.
another Aubameyang. I don't know why they're taking so long to sign his contract. It's a
I
piece
don't
of
know,
paper.
but
Take a
again,
pen and
if-
just bloody sign it, man. Just get it
Just
done
do it.
with.
But again, coming back to getting Van de Beek and maybe Sancho joining in later, the point is it's not just like how we played three at the back, two spread wing backs with three midfield and three up front. We might see a change in formation. We might see if for against certain teams, if we are unable to break down, having this depth on the bench will allow Ole to make those changes in the formation, and instead of going two forward, make three forwards or just one forward, whatever. This will give him a lot of options to do it. And this is just one player coming in. And imagine Sancho joining this squad. I mean, all of a sudden, till last Instagram live, we were talking about barely managing to make it to the top four. But if Sancho joins in along with a CB, dude, this team can contest for the title, considering the
definitely.
kind
I
of
mean-
play we've done.
Yeah, if they do, so suppose we sign a centre back, suppose we sign a right winger, which I'll get on to a bit later as well. But if we do make those signings, then challenging for the league of top two should be then a minimum requirement from fans and
A
from the
bare
board and audience.
minimum. Yeah, that's true. But again, see, even if you look at this team, which has played this season, if Ole thinks that I'm not getting any other player, and this team can be a title contesting team, considering the likes of Bruno, Pogba are only reserved for the league, and let the others play the other cup games or whatever it is. In that, I know it is
And
ridiculous to even
Champions
make a
League.
statement like.
No, but
Yeah, I mean, I know.
If Sunil is watching, he's going to jump on you again. That's going to happen one more time. But yeah, so
As I said, it's a ridiculous statement to make, but again, it depends on what the board's vision is, what Ole's vision is. And considering what I've seen on a podcast where Ole says that this is a 3-year project which we want to do, and slowly and steady, I think we are achieving. If we had set out at the start of last season saying that I want to make top four, I want to get into the Champions League or win the Europa League or whatever, a couple of those bucket list things were done for him. There were tick marks across the board saying that we've given away quite a.
He's done it.
Yeah, the defense has been tweaked. It's a better defense now. We've given away far few less goals compared to the season before that. So he's achieved. It's not that it's a regressive coaching management style. We've progressed under him. So I think it's fair.
Yeah, the Shuttler says we earlier argued Pogba being a one-man show in midfield in previous seasons. There's no excuse anymore. Exactly. And post-lockdown, that had become Bruno. And then it became, Bruno's playing every game. He's tired, so can't expect that much. Pogba's having his time off because he's come back from injury, this, that. Right now, we're down to, if we're drawing or down to Sevilla in the Europa League in 70 minutes and Van de Beek is on the bench, we can bring someone on. And if then he does not, then we can say, okay, he was clearly wrong. And there'll be no fights anymore that, but why Mata, bro? Hopefully that's done. Hopefully those days are behind us.
And adding players of a similar caliber like the Pogba or the Bruno, it will give the other players enough boost to match up or take their level a notch higher, because if the other players start performing, you go on the bench.
Yeah.
So it gives them enough boosters to make sure they perform or they'll lose their place in the starting 11. Although I know there's no one where they can be compared to from the bench we have right now. But it just gives an enough edge to them to make sure they perform at the highest level every game week.
Yeah, dude, I have one question for you, and we need to get this out right now. Since you are, for those who don't know, or for those who haven't been to screening, Shyam, Joint Secretary. Oh, by the way, Joint Secretary is here on screen. I just realized.
Hi, Joint Secretary.
hey, Joint Secretary. How's it going? So Shyam is our very own Stretford end, our mini Stretford end. At the screen, Shyam, let's come up with a Donny Van de Beek chant right now, dude.
Right now.
Right now. So I have like a quick one to get us started. Maybe chat can help as well. It doesn't have to be like in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's things out, but I think let's get a very simple. Donny Van de Beek, Donny Van de Beek, la 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 la.
Oh, Donny Van de Beek, Donny Van de Beek.
Donny Van de Beek. Come on, let's see some more. Come on, chat, help us. Let's see. I'm sure we can come up with something better.
Why is Iyer not interviewing Shyam?
Yash Iyer is currently busy. He's caught up with stuff, but we hope he's going to be back soon. Clearly, you guys are missing him, so I'm sure that will help him come back soon as well. Iyer, if you're still tuned
actually,
the fans, what do you want?
Yash was watching the live, and Iyer, when I made that statement of according to Iyer, only the best 11 we have is enough for us to win the league. So I think there's a little tip here. No, Iyer is busy with some personal work right now.
The people are like, what is this Iyer trader doing here? What is Shyam doing here? We want a Iyer lovers back.
Where is Abhishek Goldbridge?
Where is Abhishek Goldbridge? Absolutely right. So I don't think chat is helping us with any chance, yeah. But
all right, Nirav. No, we are not doing that chant. No, Nirav, we are not doing that chant.
No, sorry. There was one very bad phase in the middle that we had. We're not doing those chants anymore. Those days are behind us. As are days of Mata coming off the bench when we're down. Hopefully, those days are behind us. But hey, man, thanks, Shyam, for joining in. Hopefully by Sunday, let's try and crack one. So on our next live, let's get a belter of a Donny Van de Beek chant out there. Come on, let's do it.
All right, let's try and do that. Yep, definitely. Let's try and do that.
All right, thanks, Shyam. Cheers, and it's great to see the smiles back on everyone's faces. It's so good to do this with a smile.
Come on, Sancho, get in.
Get in. If that happens, I think this is going to break. I think the line's going to break. It might just break.
I mean, I'm already in love with that guy who was interning at Man United and made a tweet saying that on September 14th, the announcement is imminent.
Apparently.
Hopefully that should happen. Yeah.
Hey, Abby's come in with a chant. So there you go, guys. I hear the Terrible is here with us. It's Donny, you know. We just have to think better than...
What?
Better than
Ronaldinho?
Better than Andres Pirlo. It's Donny.
It's Donny. You know,
I mean, we have to go outrageous, don't we? So better than Andrew Pirlo, it's Donny. I think that's a great
Dhoni.
one, dude.
Yep.
We did it, Sham. We did
Love
it.
you too,
Obviously,
Ayar. Yeah,
love
we
you
did
too,
it.
Ayar.
Thanks,
Exactly.
Ayar.
Thank
Yes.
you for that.
Thanks, Goldbridge.
Oh, he's saying hard to believe it's not Scholes. But you know what?
Mhm.
I'd put Scholes slightly higher there. So I'm going to wait
Yeah,
for it to become
exactly.
Scholes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey,
Better than GH, you know. It's Van de Beek.
perfect. Perfect. Better than
Yep.
Ziyech, it's Van de Beek. Let's go. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go. Dude, I'm excited.
Let's go.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
Sham. Thanks
Thank
once
you.
again for tuning in, guys. Clearly, we are all so excited for Van de Beek signing. But you know what? I'm going to start getting into the next ones. Who needs to be next? Uh, it's just who needs to be our next signing because Van de Beek is clearly not enough. If we think that that's the only one that's needed, or if we're happy with this now, then we're in
No,
for
we need
just
a
more
Sancho.
mediocrity.
We need a Sancho. We need a left back or a centre back. We need someone in the defense as well. Because if
Yeah.
something goes wrong with Harry Maguire in Greece, you never know.
Oh God. Please, let's not even put those things out there. Good vibes only, Sham. Good vibes only. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, but okay, so chalo. What do you think? Sancho is happening, not happening? Forget the apparent
Happening.
in-term
Happening. No, happening. It's
happening,
happening.
no? It just seems
It's
inevitable.
happening. We'll end up paying 120 only. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just unnecessarily a straight saga. End of the day, the joke's on Ed Woodward. I'm like, guy, come on. मतलब पहले दिन पे MRP लिखा हुआ था 120. तो क्या है? दे दो ना भाई, खत्म हो गया.
He's doing the Sahil Shah. For those who know Sahil Shah, I think Woodward's being the proper Sahil Shah. He's like, "Arey nahi yaar, please yaar, chal na." This and yet like, no bro, I always was going to pay. I was just checking, and he'll go through with it anyway. I have a fingers crossed. But what do you guys think? Thumbs up if you think Sancho's gonna come for sure. Thumbs down if you don't think he's gonna come. Any other emoji or like sideways or whatever if there is one. If you think it's there, you're worried. But let's see what's happening. There's lots of laughing emojis coming in. If Maguire was caught in Mumbai, 500 में काम हो जाता. Satan says, dude. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, if he was here, I think he'd come just with so much clout in India that
Yeah.
it won't even get into that situation. Like we saw, if you remember the whole, I know I'm digressing here, but the whole Ilano situation in Goa, where after the ISL thing, apparently, there was a whole fiasco. He's
Yeah.
taken to the police station and he just flew out. He's like, what, screw this, I'm getting out of here. He just flew out, never came
Yeah.
back. So that could have easily just
So
happened.
imagine a member of supporters club finding Maguire in Mumbai with cops. He's like, sir, आप रहने दो, मेरे से 500 ले लो, जान दो इसको.
Yeah, possibly. Dude, so there's thumbs up all around. Like everyone thinks Sancho's coming in.
Sancho's coming, bro.
It's done. And
Sending good
you know
vibes to the universe. Like,
Yeah.
get him. Put him
The
on a
good thing
plane.
is, while say the others start Premier League in a week, we have 2 weeks. So we could actually still
Yeah.
see him in our first game, And it's maybe slightly annoying that maybe that's what Ed is taking his time as well. He's like, you know what? I know I have time, so I'll wait. I have that one extra week. I'll take all that one extra week. I'll save £5. It's just so annoying. Just get this deal done with, right?
I know, but if you see, if Van de Beek's coming in and if I say he's replacing Matic in the team, if Sancho joins in, considering the way we ended our last few games, I don't think he's a definite starter. Maybe he'll come off the bench for Greenwood for the first game.
First
If
game,
it's that late of a
First
transfer,
game.
if it's that late of a transfer, then he comes in late. It's not a starter for him. But yeah. Going ahead, I think
we
have
can
a
forgo the
replacement
first
for-
game. It's fine. I think we'll be happy.
Yeah,
If we
yeah.
can start second game onwards, I'll take it. If you're telling me right now that we're announcing Sancho, but he'll only play second game onwards, yes, please do it. Where do I
Yeah,
sign?
chalega. Happily.
Like how do I get this deal done? Let's see what
Of
people are
course,
saying.
Sancho is a starter. I know he's not a dessert.
Oh,
He's a starter.
oh God. Okay then. On that note, Shyam's internet needs to drop now. Those are the things that are coming in. Do you think Sancho will be enough? Is the question. See, if Sancho comes, I think our attack unit is sorted. I do think we still need a striker, to be very honest, because if Martial has again his patchy times, we'll need it. But then you know what? At least now Greenwood can maybe slot in there. Rashford can come in there. We can sort of still
True.
maybe figure things out. So long run, yes, especially after Jan once Igalo goes back. But defense, man, we definitely need a centre back, do we? Like which out of the three positions, centre back, left back, right back, which one do you think we need the most right now?
Left back. Because if
Left
something
back?
happens to Luke Shaw and the way Brandon Williams performed in the last few games, I think we definitely need replacement, better substitute coming off the bench for Luke Shaw.
But don't you think we need a better centre back to start with? So for where I'm coming from is if a left back comes in, he'll be a squad depth player. If a centre back comes in, he'll be a starter, which is why I'm thinking of centre back. But Chat
But
is
again, I think
left back.
Eric Bailly, if he doesn't start, he's not that bad of a player to come off the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, considering even Lindelof for that matter, if he doesn't start, he's not that bad a player to come off the bench.
Hmm.
So the priority in defense is the left back because we clearly saw the moment Luke Shaw got injured and wasn't in the last few games. Brandon Williams going ahead offered zero and wasn't that effective in the back as well.
Yeah.
So
Dude, Chat
and
is
Rashford is much
mostly
more
left back.
yeah, and
Chad is like
Rashford is much more
unanimously left
comfortable
back.
with Luke Shaw.
Yeah, you can see that. I mean, see that obviously then comes down to Rashford as well, right? He needs to sort of adapt more to a different left back as well. Is that because anyway we're talking about who replaces Luke Shaw, right? When you're talking about a left back, we're talking about
Yeah.
who other than Luke Shaw. So it's clearly to like bold caps lock letters from everyone: left back, left back, left back, left back, left back with exclamation marks. So let me put this down then. Left back as a starting left back or a backup left back? Like, are you happy with Luke Shaw now to be our first left back, or do you need
Yeah.
someone who's there?
No, I'm happy with Luke Shaw. The way because we saw the standards drop after he got injured. So we've been unnecessarily giving him stick.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but he's done his defensive duties well. Of course, he had a few lapses here and there, but again, he's not that bad. He's a definite starter of a left back.
I mean,
We
as
need a
you said,
replacement.
yeah. As you said like a while ago, once Luke Shaw gets injured, we realize how much we miss him. When he plays, we give him stick. Arey, why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? But once he's not playing,
True.
we realize that, oh my God, what has happened? And lots of people are saying, centre back, we have more cover. As you said, Eric Bailly, people are saying needs consistency to build his confidence. Hopefully he's not injured, man. That's all I can say. It's not like it's down to him. He needs to sort of somehow keep his fitness around him. Tuanzebe has potential. Totally agree. But again,
Yeah.
fitness is the issue there. Had a sad season, but top mentality player says Dhawan 19. I'm not sure who he's talking about. By Shaw.
You
I
can't.
have no clue.
Someone said compare him with Robertson. You can't compare him with Robertson or Trent Alexander as well because their style of play is different to our style of play. So they are
I
just
completely agree.
sprint and cross merchants. We build up game.
No, I mean, okay, that's obviously a little unfair, but Trent Alexander is on a different planet itself right now.
True.
Robertson,
I know.
honestly, I think can be met. Like, it's not like we can't find a left back who's not as good as Robertson, is where I'm coming from. Trent Alexander, yes, because he's just a complete player right now with set pieces, which right back attacks that much and is so good on set pieces and everything. It is obviously very hard to match someone like that, but I think Robertson we can easily find a better Robertson, man. I honestly
Yeah,
think so.
true. Yeah, agree. Prashant,
Reguilon
Trent
is,
is generational. I was just joking. Don't take it seriously that they are sprint and cross merchants.
Sham loves to give the controversial ones out there. Lots of people saying we need Reguilon.
Trent
we
is
need
hyped.
Reguilon, we need Reguilon. Who's saying Trent is hyped? What? How? Guys, does no one play FPL more than anything else? Get him in your FPL team and you'll know he's worth all the hype. But Reguilon is
I'm
the one
going.
who's left back. Everyone is, saying is in for that. He's been great for Sevilla. He's actually been a proper fullback, and they're the kind of team who play sort of like how we started to play, where in attack both the fullbacks would go up. The deep line midfielder would sort of come back, become a back three, and then your fullbacks would go up. So Reguilon is used to that play, which something what Ole is trying to put in this. So are you happy with that signing, or do you have any other players, or do you think what? Not, I'm
No,
not that
I'm happy
convinced.
with that signing. That will actually push again Luke Shaw to keep up with his standards and take it a notch higher than no, then he knows that only if I get injured, I'll be taken off the team because Brandon Williams again isn't really that level, and
Yep.
Tuanzebe is again not that consistent, injury prone. So if we have a backup or a substitute which is at par with the starter, then it pushes you to take your level a little higher or be consistent enough to not lose your place in the starting
And we
level.
saw that, and we saw that happen the moment he got injured, and Brandon Williams came in, and Brandon Williams in the middle did have a really good spell. Let's not forget. Towards the
Yeah,
end, he waned off, but he had a great spell in the middle. At that time, Luke Shaw raised his game in how, which is where we've come to appreciate him. Before that, I personally was at least like, Brandon Williams start him ahead of Luke Shaw every single week. This guy's
yeah,
showing
true.
that
I
this
know.
boy's got it in him. But he pushed Luke Shaw, and Luke Shaw, he replied, man, kudos to him. He came back. He's like, yeah, you know what? Let's do this.
Yeah, but again, going ahead, probably next season, I would like to see the likes of Gardner and these guys coming from the academy and at least be on the bench
Hmm.
against Pereira or a Lingard or a Mata.
Yeah,
Because if we have a bench strength of a Sancho on the bench or a Van de Beek on the bench, then you can have the likes of your academy players coming in so that
yeah,
if we are doing well in a game 3-1, 3-0, then we can bring them on and give them minutes to add
yeah,
on and gain that experience. Because considering if you don't have the bench strength, then I'll probably want a Lingard or a Pereira who's there on the bench to come and maybe try and make something of it. Because
yeah.
in that 85th minute, we are 0-0, need a goal. I wouldn't want someone inexperienced to come. So
Yeah,
that's
makes
where
sense. You
the
definitely need
difference
experience. Yeah,
between where exactly how the game is going, it depends how you put them in the game and let them have a few minutes under their belt.
yeah, makes sense, man. Sham, I'm going to have to say thank you because I've just realized I have 23 minutes left. I'm going to bring on one more guest, and then I'm going to bring on Annie for Let Annie speak. If I don't bring
Exactly.
Annie on, I'm going to be butchered here because he's clearly the fan favorite. People come in just to watch that segment, which is why we keep it at the end. So
I
thanks
know.
so much. Thanks so much, Sham. I cannot find a drop button, so you will have to do it for me.
I'll
You'll have
drop
to
myself
drop the
out.
mic. Uh,
Pleasure. Pleasure talking to you, man.
as always, good
All right,
sir.
bye. Bye.
Cheers. So yeah, guys, we've sort of got into a lot of it. Reguilon seems to be the chat's favorite for left back coming in. Uh, Mahesh Pillai's Garner is going out on loan. I haven't read anything about it, but if he does, I think that would be better, honestly, at least from my view, than just sitting on bench and doing nothing. We saw how much it helped the likes of Tammy Abraham to get a full season, even in the championship, and then come back into the team. So just I'd be very happy for Ghana if he got a good first team loan spell out somewhere. Um, let's see what some of the other chats are. And as I said, we will have Let Annie speak in a bit. I'm going to get to that. I also have a few questions coming in. Um, wait, where they go? There we are. So Aman Jagra has said you had one choice, Sancho or Upaman. I don't think he spelled it right here, and it's messing with my head. Or Reguilon. Sancho, man, no doubt. Between Sancho, a centre back, and a left back, Sancho hands down. Just because the quality of player that Sancho is, and the quality he'll bring in that position, uh, generational talent. He can easily be our Ronaldo for the next few years. And I'm not even kidding here when I'm saying that. His attacking stats in Europe last season have been bested only by Messi and Ronaldo. So when I'm saying this, I'm not kidding that he can easily be the most prolific, one of the most prolific players for us in this in this generation. So Sancho for me, hands down, my pick of all the players coming in. I'm going to bring someone on quickly, and before I bring you on, I'm telling you that it's going to be a quick one. I'm going to bring on Prasham Prasham, who's from United Star, and on this show, as my co-host Abhishek likes to keep saying, we like supporting other channels. So Prasham is from the United Star. They do really good United content, and you should check out. And clearly, he has someone around him who is saying, "Silent, I'm going live now." Uh, Prasham, I have only known you as my rant guy. Today, I want to see you as the happy guy, as the guy who's, let's see. What are you thinking? Come on, let's see. I'm not going to push you to any direction. What are your comments on what we've had so far, and what's bugging you?
I kind of agree, man. I kind of agree with a lot of what Sham had to say in terms of getting Van de Beek. I don't think he's going to be a starter. I don't think he can fill the Matic role in, against the Man City. I don't think he can play the Matic role because I don't think his defensive game is that strong. I think last season after Frankie de Jong moved to Barcelona, he did play sort of that more deeper role for Ajax, but his stats are not that impressive. And to be honest, I've seen only a few games. I've not seen all his games. I'm not going to say that I've seen everything and he's brilliant, but I think yeah, he's a great signing, and I think it's brilliant to have him because we can always bring him on against against teams like Man City. In fact, to break play up, to make that play when Bruno and Pogba, clearly Bruno was so tired, like towards the end of the season, we saw that. So, Van de Beek can come in. Now we're playing in the Champions League as well. Scored more goals at Stamford Bridge than Loftus-Cheek has. So, clearly, man, he's got...
That's a stat and a half right there. Dude, I completely agree with you, man. I think in bigger games, where we do need to, when we're playing against the better positions, where we need a defender to just sort of break things down, I think he might not start those games. But I think, I said this before, when we're playing teams with a low block, we can easily start with all three of them, man.
Absolutely.
And it'll be terrifying for the opposition. It'll be ecstatic. Think about it. As everyone said, Sancho is incoming, right? Think about this, man. Van de Beek, Paul Pogba, Bruno, Martial, Rashford, and Jadon Sancho. These six.
And then you can bring Greenwood off the bench.
Still, but we've only been able to name one person off the bench. So that is still a slight worry here when you're talking about squad depth. But Prashant sent one more question. So Prashant sent a question as well. Prashant, I didn't read it. Nirav has said he sent a question. I didn't read it because it's just so tiny on the screen. It's such a long question. Basically, end of the season, if you could pick between keeping Pogba and Fred, who would you pick?
That's not even a question, man.
It's not even a question.
Paul
right?
Pogba,
hands down, yeah.
Pogba on his day, Paul Pogba is, I keep saying this, he's technically the best midfielder there is. The way the vision he has, the dribbling ability, the strength he has. Only if he had the attitude of a Kevin De Bruyne, this man would be winning Ballon d'Or. He's that good. Yeah. We can't sell this guy. Get him a new contract. He seems happy to be playing. There's no reason why we should get rid of him. And I mean, let's face it, Fred, for all he's improved this season, he's not Paul Pogba, man. The opposition doesn't get scared when they see Fred's name on the team sheet, but Pogba can actually scare people when he comes on that team sheet and when he comes onto the pitch. Like you said, like the olden times in United, people used to say, oh, you looked at the team in the tunnel and they used to get scared. You look at a midfield of Pogba, potentially Pogba, Bruno, Van de Beek, if Martial, Rashford, Sancho, that team is scary. Fred doesn't scare anyone. He's a good player with all respect to him. He's a good squad player, but he's not Pogba.
I completely agree, man. And, while we're discussing the bench, Janam has rightly pointed out Ighalo. He is a decent option. I think, honestly, in that game against Sevilla, I would have been happy if he came on earlier. Because when we've used him, I'm not going to go into that discussion now because I know it's been a long drawn one. All I'm saying is when he's been called upon, he's done his job, right? So not a bad one. Come January, though, we will need a replacement.
But Karan, if we get Sancho, I would rather see Greenwood coming on as a number 9 when we need him rather than Ighalo. Ighalo is great to play in the cup games, play him in the Carabao Cup, let him be that target man, put the ball to him, let him do his thing. But I really want to see Mason Greenwood develop into that number 9 role more than on the right, because there we have a player who can get us 30 goals in a season.
I could not agree more, man. I want to see Mason Greenwood this season as a centre forward. I got really annoyed when FPL put him as a midfielder. Yes, it's great, more points or whatever, but I was just really, he's a centre forward, guys, and he can be the Robin van Persie, right? His raw talent is there. He plays exactly, every single person, every pundit over season it's reminded of Robin van Persie, dude. So
yeah, exactly.
It's right there. But what do you think about the other positions, man? What do you think? We've had so much discussion about left back, centre back. Which one do you think is more crucial?
So I said in the comments as well, I think we need a left back. I don't think we need a starter for Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw has done enough to at least get a start in the season. We need a left back who can occasionally play on the right. Because we saw Wan-Bissaka tends to get very tired as well. We do have Brandon Williams on the left. I know Abby has been big for putting him on the right. I'm not sure if that will work out. Only time will tell if he can actually do that. But I don't want Wan-Bissaka to be playing every game. I don't know if Fosu Mensah is sort of ready to play that right back role. But I want a left back who can cover for the right. But if we get Regulion, then I'm absolutely fine with that. That guy, he's got potential at his age, with his pace and with the attacking prowess he has. I think he's the proper modern left back and would fit Ole's game quite well, I think.
Yeah, man, I agree with you that we need a more versatile fullback. Right now, we don't have fullbacks who can play both wings, and there's no cover for Wan-Bissaka at all, especially with Dalot seemingly done and absent from everywhere. We have no cover for him, which is quite scary. MUFC till I die 7. You said, look at my question again. It's such a long question. It's tiny. I can't read it at all. So just put it in chat and I'll pick it up from here, guys. Anyone who's sending questions, feel free to just drop it in chat. I am going through chat. I might miss out a couple of things, but I will read it. So send it here.
But Khan, that's an interesting, what's interesting is if the question is whether would you sign Upamecano or would you get a left back, then maybe my answer changes a bit because I think Upamecano is an absolutely brilliant player. I think that quarterfinal he played, if you saw him play, I think it was absolutely incredible. His passing statistics are brilliant. His defensive statistics are great. So I think if we're getting Upamecano for around 45 million, I think that will be a brilliant buy. But I mean, in an ideal world, I take Regulion and Upamecano both, but unfortunately, we're not.
Who do you pick between the two? Who would you pick between the two? Upamecano or Regulion?
I think I'd pick Upamecano because I'd want to see Upamecano and Maguire play as the centre backs, and then Lindelof and Bailly filling in because I think we need that depth in that centre back position. I know Lindelof is okay, Bailly is okay, but I think Upamecano really solidifies the team there, and he's great going forward, and we need that because Maguire is a little slow, so Upamecano can add that speed.
I mean, we're saying this as if he's available. Clearly, Leipzig are adamant that he's not for sale. He signed his contract. He's not going. Clearly, there's not much movement happening there. This is obviously just wishful thinking happening right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, of course.
Janam has a point. I actually don't mind seeing Laird this season. Ethan Laird is someone I haven't seen him too much, to be honest, but just reading reports coming out from the youth academy and the people who do follow it are saying Laird is as big a talent as Mason Greenwood is. So I'd be very excited to, if he becomes, the understudy for right back, it might not be a very bad thing, but I just hope he delivers more than Brandon has in many ways.
If you've seen our youth videos, Vishesh is a huge fan of Ethan Laird and he thinks he's a combination of Gary Neville and Trent Alexander-Arnold combined. So if that is something to go by, we've really got a talent on our hands.
Wow.
But yeah, again, but yeah, man, like the youth should definitely get a run. But like, what if Wan-Bissaka gets injured? Touch wood, he won't. What if Wan-Bissaka gets tired in the big games? I think we need a little more experience there, and I think a more versatile right back would help.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm going to drop in one last question to you, and then I'm going to, make the segue towards let Annie speak. Clearly, you also have people who are constantly troubling you during this live. So MUFC Till I Die says Dan James' performance yesterday was class. I think he got an assist for Wales yesterday as well. He says if Rashford has a bad game, would you bring him on or play Sancho on the left and bring Greenwood on the right? I would. I mean, obviously, this is very hypothetical, right? It needs to be seen how the game is going, how everyone's playing, how everything is happening. But I'm honestly very happy to give Dan James that slot on the left, So if you're looking at one person per position, I'm happy for Dan James to be the understudy on the left.
But Karan, hypothetically, if Rashford's having a bad game, I just put Martial on the left and bring Greenwood on and put him in the center.
Yeah, I mean, either combination, right? So basically the point is you move around those three. So you don't put Greenwood as a center forward anymore. You would rather have Greenwood on than Dan James on at any position in the pitch, essentially is what you're saying.
Yeah, I would definitely want Ole to trust our subs a little bit more, man.
Yeah, I mean, which is why I'm saying Dan James. I would want, even right now when we're saying that, only Greenwood is who we can name to come off, or maybe Ighalo in a stretch. Why not Dan James as well, right? Because let's be honest, from what we expected of him last season, he sort of did that much. He wasn't phenomenal or anything. I'm not saying that, but
like 21-year-old pace merchant is good.
Yeah, he did what he did, and give him more time and he can develop is what I'm saying. But hey, man, thanks for coming in again. For those of you who haven't already, check out the United Star. They do some great stuff. Prasham here and Vishesh as well. So yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, there we have it. That was Prasham. We now have your favorite segment coming in. So Annie, if you can send in your request, please. Annie is joining from the Football Pundits, another really good account. And I'm saying a really good account because I am a co-founder of it. Annie, Abhishek, and I obviously started Football Pundits, and we still, putting out videos regularly. It's not just the United Fan channel, though. We do a lot more. So yeah, shameless plug in here. Go check it out. Hello, Annie.
What's happening, guys?
I've done our shameless plugins while you were logging in.
I heard that. I heard that plugin. That worked
You
well.
did. That
Yep.
worked well. Was it smooth enough?
No.
Annie, before you come in, no, I have some really. Acha, theek hai, you actually I'll put on some really random stats. Two
Ah.
random stats I had at the end, but
Bol.
as Janav said, let Annie speak. So I'm going to leave this. The floor is yours, Mr. Animesh Thakkar. Let
So,
Annie speak. Go.
so quickly, when it comes to signings, right? Upamecano is not going to happen till next year, and Leipzig will not sell him because they don't have the right replacement in place for him, and they will not make a move like that. Especially when the Bundesliga has finally become so competitive, it doesn't make sense for them to do that this year. Coming into Regulon would be the signing United fans have been talking about. You know, those players which come for like a 30 million, not 55, 60 million, like your Chilwells, Walkers, Cancelos. Reguilon would be a smart move. Yes, Madrid might not want to sell him, but look, if you're United, you can figure a clause in. Ed Woodward is at least good at that one thing, of putting add-on clauses on add-on clauses, right? So Reguilon could possibly happen. It really depends on how much effort the club puts into it, right? But yeah, if I had to choose between a centre back
Annie, your
and choose between a
internet
left
is
back,
slightly laggy.
is it?
Your internet is slightly laggy. If chat can help us out, is it just mine or you know what? Are you guys seeing Annie's internet a little buffery as well? The chat, if you can just put in your messages in. But sorry, go on, Annie. If it is, chat, let us know and I'll let you know again.
Yeah, Nirav, yes, I will do KDB. Yes, let me talk. Trust me, my wife hates it when I talk that much, but I don't listen to her anyway.
Janam is saying blurred Annie as well. So yeah, laggy. Annie, clearly there's some internet problem. Today your audio was fine, so the internet had to act up. There has to be some. I mean, this clearly
Okay,
the
what?
house doesn't like you going live, or Shikha doesn't like you going live.
I have no idea. I'm literally on my network right now. Yeah, it's clear. Okay, it's improved now. So yeah, like I was saying, I'll quickly catch up and repeat. If we had to, okay, yeah. So Upamecano is not going to happen till next year. If it does happen, United can match his price though and secure it. If you had to ask me about a centre back or a left back, I would say left back because, okay, so we said this last year that once the lockdown is done, if Luke Shaw performs well in 6 games in a row, he deserves to start. He did that, got injured, deserves to start. End of discussion, correct? Not much to talk about here. But Williams is a step down with big gap in between. No meaningful depth. Reguilon would be the person you need for meaningful depth. Now that takes you to the right back. We have Wan-Bissaka. Clearly should not play every game. We will suffer in the Champions League if he's playing in 40 games a season. Gap over there again. There is no Dalot. So I'd rather us have a wing back replacement for the left where you can focus on Dalot, Fosu-Mensah, and Williams can play on both feet, so fine. Maybe Williams on that side. You know, the irony is that actually Wan-Bissaka, who was built up to be the strong signing, might be the one who needs help this season and not Luke Shaw.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So you
what
can
we're
imagine
discussing,
that.
right? He has no one to back him up.
Yeah, so that's what I see. Obviously, Sancho would be the signing we should be focusing at, but if it's only Sancho and Van der Beek, we will again be in trouble next year. Looking at the likes of Everton and all that, people are like, oh, don't look at Everton. There were just a couple of games. But those are the games we lose and draw. That's the fine line between top 4. That could be the fine line between first and second this year, guys. Let's not forget, Liverpool are not going to strengthen beyond one more player. City look like they might only get Koulibaly. Yes, that's all they need. But City are there for the taking. We saw it last year. Aguero is not that fit. Jesus is not filling the gap well. It's been 2 years now, injury-free. You know, this Premier League season actually could be tighter than we expect. And with Chelsea signing 5 players, United probably needing 3 or 4, and we could be in the mix, you know.
Yeah.
And there's always Spurs who can, you know, it like every other anyway. So one team will always go down easily. The way I see it is Sancho should be our signing. And once we get Sancho will be... So I'll tell you how we line up if Sancho comes. It's going to be Martial, Sancho, Rashford. Backups will be Igalo. Dan James is better on the left, not right. And Greenwood on the right. Once Igalo goes off in January, correct? Then we have then you have Greenwood, who's anyway flexible. He can play. He's a centre forward, not a right winger, but he can play both. So I think once Sancho comes, our attacking unit is sorted. Yes, they are not your Ziyech, they are not Pulisic, they are not Werners, but in their own
They're
right,
better.
they could be a menacing attacking force. Right?
Yeah.
I'm being very honest on paper right now. They're not Sterling as stats. They don't have KDB stats, but I'm not looking at that. This is what Ole wants. He wants us to build our attack, not buy it. Yes, Sancho is that one person we are buying to add to our team, but
Yeah.
that is, in essence, is what he wants. Prashant calls James a pace merchant. Prashant, I strongly disagree, man. He played so much in the start of the season. He played a whole season in the championship. He clearly was burnt out, even mentally and physically, but he still did a good shift till December. And that's all you can ask for from a young guy sometimes, right? Even Greenwood did badly in the end of the lockdown, right? He also burned away.
Correct. Annie, I'm going to ask you about the departures now. Yes. So you summed up everything we've done so far. So if anyone missed out on the middle of our show, Annie's done a quick recap for everyone. Annie, I'm going to put a question to you, which is about the outgoings. Smalling seems to be finally getting done. The deal he's going to Roma. It seems to be more or less done. Which are the other ones you see leaving, or would you rather see leave? Which ones do you think we need to keep? And in this hypothetical situation, let's consider Sancho is coming. And then how would you see it?
Can I be very honest? I've come to a stage right now. It is technically 1 week before the Premier League restarts, 2 weeks to United's first game. You have to notice that one thing, that if our players aren't registered by this weekend, they can't play for us till probably the second or third game week. So if I look at it that way, I'm not really asked about departures anymore. Clearly, departures are not a big issue. Departures are being done to balance off our books in the end. I really want our striker. So what I want to say is that we know who have to go. We know Jones has to go. We know Mata has to go. We know Lingard has to go. We know Pereira has to go.
So you're saying all three of them going, but you're saying Mata, Lingard, Pereira, all three leaving this season?
They should
want
leave.
one of them to stay?
I agree. I honestly have come to a point where I think, look, we've had this discussion over and over again, right? And we have 4 minutes to go. I think Mata has enough in him to be around for one more season, to be the kind of player you need in games where he can come on in the last 10 minutes if we have very bad injuries. So that's not your plan A or your plan B. It could be your plan C. That's the way you see it. But I don't see Lingard doing that. I don't see Pereira being good enough. Pereira's got enough run in the side. I know these guys are a youth system. They put in a shift. They've given everything. But look, guys, this is one thing I want to tell you guys at all. Either you have your youth players developing and writing that beautiful story, or you want your side to win. Sometimes you can't have both. So we have to decide what we want. Do we want our youth to flourish, or do you want to win? Sometimes those hard decisions have to come, right? Like, for example, if Martial has a very poor year this year, he should go next season. He will be in his 6th year, guys. And it's how you have to be cold-hearted. That's how City wins, right? Yeah, we shouldn't be completely checkbook like them. There's a balance. But you have to understand that that's somewhere where we need to be pragmatic this year. If you want United to win, then you need to make the hard decisions.
Yeah, Annie, I thought I'd go one episode without talking about your hair, but chat doesn't let me, man. Caro for the first time says your hair looks nice. But then Janam asked, what's with this Ceballos hairstyle? Clearly, guys, I mean, I made a mistake. I should have just started as I generally do and just start with the hair, because clearly it's what needs to be discussed. But yeah, I mean,
okay, sorry,
coming into it, we do know these.
Dea, Henderson, guys.
I'm going to honestly, honestly, I think that's a lot for today. We have like 2 minutes left. I'm going to leave that for the Sunday one. Let's leave something to talk about them as well.
I'll put in one line. Henderson has come this year to push David De Gea. Henderson will be a number 1 next year. David De Gea might very much leave unless he has a phenomenal season. Very tough though.
Interesting. That's something up for the next one. Annie, we have a minute and a half left. So your quick thought on where Van de Beek plays in this. Do you think start, sub, replacement? How do you go? Like 30 seconds. Come on.
Van de Beek has come in to push Paul Pogba and his agent. Look, I don't blame Paul Pogba. I think his agent took everything out of hand. That guy is actually a nice lad. He loves the club. There's no doubt about that. But he's come in to basically put a check in that ego balance in the midfield. So I do see Van de Beek actually pushing Paul Pogba, if nobody else, for a starting spot. But I don't see him starting every game. I feel he will start when the season starts because of Pogba's COVID. That's unfortunate. I hope he recovers well. Otherwise, it'll be a tussle between them in the Champions League and the Premier League.
Yep, I think that's what more or less everyone is seeing. Sham,
I don't have a hairband.
Sham obviously earlier said that he might see him differently. But thanks, Annie, once again for joining in. And thank you everyone else for joining in. We love having these chats with you. So keep tuning in. follow us right now if you're not already, and you'll see when the next live is. We'll put up a story, we'll put it up on our Twitter. Stay tuned, and hopefully by the next one, there's one more signing, which means the signing maybe today or tomorrow. Fingers crossed. See you guys.